I was thinking I didn't look good because I just took a nap and now I'm like, I look like a witch, but in a good way.
Yeah, that's a good kind of witch. Maybe like Scarlet Witch. I don't know.
Like
I don't
a,
know. But
it's so funny that you are don't get offended. Uh, what can I even say at this
your
point?
tippy
I love
toes.
watching men just like,
What?
I guess I did that and it hurt a penguin. I don't know.
Nice
It's fun
point.
for us. And I enjoy every moment. So
I'm
thank you.
sure you do. I'm sure you do. You're living up to looking like a witch.
Oh God.
That's the
Keep
way
that in.
Oh, I will. I
Keep
will.
that in.
That'll
He's
be
bringing it. He's bringing the
the
heat, and
promo.
I'm enjoying it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Blockbuster Mentality. I'm your host, Ben. Another fun show. Oh, Ben, you say it's a fun show every time. Well, I have fun doing it. You know? I have fun doing it. And this one was a lot of fun. All right. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Crazy world out there. Pandemic, vaccines, all that jazz. But hopefully you can escape with this show. Maybe watch the movie before you check out our show that we talk about, because you gets you more engaged. Or don't watch the movie and listen to the episode, and it'll make you want to go watch it. So either way, watch movies. That's what we do to escape. A little late on this episode. It's Wednesday. I know. I apologize. But, life. It's a pandemic. I know. Have you guys heard that it's a pandemic? I don't know if anyone's told you, but yeah, there's a pandemic. We have a great episode. Again, I say that every time, but we do. Alice Wetterlund. You can check her out on her show on Sci-Fi, Resident Alien, also with Alan Tudyk. But yeah, great show. I'm a couple episodes in. It's good stuff. Definitely check it out. She talks more about it in this episode, but we also break down the 1997 flick LA Confidential, one of those classic cop police noir films. It's a lot of fun. Here I go saying it again, but I really hope you guys enjoy the episode. She was a lot of fun to get to know and to chat with, and we tease a little bit, and it's fun, as you heard in the teaser there. Tease. All right, I'll stop with the little corny jokes here, but we have a lot of fun talking LA Confidential. Dave, once again, is on the show. He might be back for good, but let's not hold out hope. Let's just, continue on. If he shows up, great. If not, we'll cry and we'll talk to him and see, Dave, please come back. But, let's just take it day by day, episode by episode. But here is our conversation with the talented comedian and actor, Alice Wetterlund.
Okay, so you watched it.
Oh, I mean, several times before this, but I watched it again for the show, of course. Did you?
Yes, yes, I watched The Departed for this, but
for this, okay.
I've seen LA Confidential, I don't know, like 80 times.
Yeah.
So I don't need to, but
yeah,
I did watch The Departed.
Okay.
So I thought that was important.
Why The Departed? What was
I
that?
couldn't find LA Confidential on my computer. I was traveling. I did a gig on Wednesday, and I was like, "Oh, watch LA Confidential," and then I have it on my computer.
Uh-huh.
I have it downloaded because I watch it like once a year.
Yeah.
Right.
And I couldn't find it. It's like some backup I made at some point. These computers are always like, "Are you ready for your backup?" And you're like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "It's happening." And So The Departed was on this plane. So I was like, you know what? I'll watch this and it'll remind me how much better LA Confidential is than any other thing I've seen. And I honestly held up. I compared it scene by scene in my head and I was like, this sucks.
I mean, for me, I watched Copland to prepare for this.
Perfect.
That's
And
that
Ben
sounds
watched
about right.
Bridesmaids.
Well, yeah, naturally. I mean, that's it really, the tone of Bridesmaids. I don't know.
I know the movie. That's why I chose this movie, because I was like, it's the one I don't need to watch. So watch it.
Like, why prepare?
Imagine me not knowing anything about it. I'm just like, I love Glenn Close in it.
I think that is a first. This strategy of watching a different but somewhat related movie in preparation for the movie is a new and novel strategy. I think this is one that's going to take off going forward.
I hope for your sake it doesn't. No worries.
I mean, yeah, that might be.
I could have gone through with it and been like, yeah, of course I rewatched it and not suffered from it. But I want to be, I'm edgy. I say it like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. We like honesty, so we appreciate it. You said you had. Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was just going to quickly say, I mean, I think we must all be in the same boat, because I think maybe Alice has seen it more than the two of us, but I'd say I've seen this 5-6 times. So, I mean, even going through it this time, it felt like, I mean, I know what's going to happen. I mean, I picked up on some other stuff going on. I mean, how many times have you seen it, Ben?
Honestly, this might be my third time all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, I think it's my third time all the way through. But before we get into the movie, let's talk some Alice. Yeah, you said you had a gig. I always like to talk to comics and see how their material has changed. Has it suffered since the pandemic? How's your material going?
I was surprised. I did 20 at a festival in Colorado, and my expectation was, I don't know why, but I heard about this festival from one of Todd Glass's interns, and he was like, yeah, I think it's like camping. People go camping and there's a festival. And I was like, oh, it sounds like there'll be like an outdoor stage. It's called the Comedy and Bicycle Festival. I'm like, oh, it's going to be like a bunch of handlebar mustaches, no question. So I'm getting all that material ready. And then I get out there and it's like in the middle of this town called Trinidad, Colorado. And it's like very Hills Have Eyes vibe. Like people feel like it feels like people just came, like every store in town is an antique store.
Oh, man.
And it's just like super like deep. Like it's like a fun like redneck hippie mix. And the audience was very sparse. It was cold outside. It's Colorado at night and it was late, but they were great. Like really, I actually really love performing, and I've never performed in Colorado anywhere. I love like Denver, everywhere. I love Colorado. But the set was like all new shit. It was like 20 minutes of new material that I made during the pandemic, and I'd never performed it for live before. And I was like shocked that any of it worked. And I do think part of it is just like people are just like, ooh, experience of seeing.
Right. Yeah. There's a real live person in front of me.
Yeah. So it's a little bit giddy.
Right.
But
yeah.
I just like miss the experience of I love talking about other comedians' bits. I love going last and like being like, this guy said this guy said this, or like they're in the room still and you yell at them. I like giving the audience the experience of like pretending they're in a conversation.
Right.
What the thing you said about your mom? Yeah.
That
wasn't you.
That's what I do at the end of the podcast to guests. I, call them out for things they said during.
Oh my God.
So that'll be fun. Yeah.
But I was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is COVID jokes a no? Do you stay away from those, or is that
no? Who does? Is somebody doing that?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the comic. I'm no comic.
Yeah. Does it feel too obvious, or you're diving right in?
Right. I don't know. Like, I guess certain aspects of it. Yeah, I do. I expect a moment of people being like, you don't want to, unless you're first on the show, you don't want to be like, oh, I don't know what it's like to talk to people, because it's like everybody's going to say that.
Yeah.
There's
How about those lockdowns?
Yeah, there's certain things that are going to be like already hack before even anyone says them.
Right.
But,
yeah. Yeah, there's so many memes out there about it and everything that it's like, I'll just.
But like I think I talked about things that were pandemic adjacent just because that was everybody's reality. But I kind of do.
Yeah.
If you do it from your perspective,
Yeah. It's less, taboo or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but no, that's great. That it's going well, and you're able to perform again. I'm sure it's very exciting, like you said.
Next level.
What can you tell me about the new show on Sci-Fi? This Resident Alien. How was that experience?
Well, honestly,
I'm better at talking about movies than interviewing, so so just bear with me there. But yeah,
I feel you because I'm just like, I have a podcast, and I don't like, I'll just go on about myself for a really long time, and then my co-host is like, anyway, how did you get into filmmaking? Like, just like, shut up. Like, I love Resident Alien, and it was the second show that I did that was a fucking basic cable small town alien show shot in Canada, which is like a specific thing.
Right.
So when I got the audition for Resident Alien, I went in not knowing entirely like what the project was going to be, not knowing it was going to be shot in Canada yet. And then when I got the call, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. This, of like the 20 things I went on this month, is the one. No callbacks except this,
Right.
And I was just like, fuck, I don't want to do another alien show in Canada. It's just like, that's crazy. Then, there's the idea that you'll get like pigeonholed or whatever. I don't know what I was worried about, but the reality is just so different. It's just not the same show. And I don't know. I'm in a like sort of a special category on that show because my character wasn't based on the IP. It's based on a graphic novel series by Dark Horse Comics called Resident Alien. And everybody that appears in the show besides me is a original character from the series. And I was invented to be the best friend, sort of sidekick of Asta 12 Trees, who's the main character besides Harry the alien. She is the person who kind of befriends him and lures him into the town and starts to kind of help him be accustomed to human life. And I'm her best friend. And I basically get free reign in terms of like my character development and just, script even like
you don't have to stick with like you're not in a box character wise.
It's like it's a comedic actor's dream because it's like I'll get to set and there'll be lines on the page and I'll be like, I'll say those. But what if I said this? And generally Chris Sheridan, the head writer and creator of the show, he is on set and he just wants the best thing to happen. And so if I say something that he gets my sense of humor so well and I get him, and it's just like, we are a very close-knit group of cast members and writers, and I'm very, very excited about the show.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure working with Alan, that's got to be, that's, he's one of the best out there right now. He's
brilliant.
Yeah, he's in everything. He's
brilliant, and he is so good in this character. He really makes it something that is fucking special and like actually emotional, and he's like Jerry Lewis with his physical comedy. So, yeah.
It almost seems like it has like a Third Rock from the Sun vibes a little because he's
it's like a single cam Third Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
except there's like a dark. He really does want to kill everybody. Going on.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's he's not.
We made it fresh for 2021.
Well, yeah, you gotta just want to kill everybody at this point, I guess. And then you obviously did season 1. Was it renewed for a second season, right?
It was.
Yeah, cool. When does that start?
I think July. I think I'm gonna be out there July, August. So
nice. Back to Canada.
Back to Canada. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna see what all that's about. And
yeah. Well, What's because I see you're from Minnesota, so you're familiar with the cold and all that. So it's it's not too,
and the politeness masquerading is like a deep suspicion and judgment of others. Yeah.
Is there anything else you're working on? You have in the works that's coming out?
I have a podcast called Treks in the City. We're winding up our first kind of. We've covered the entirety of The Next Generation. Mm-hmm. We've done it all, and it's great. It's on Forever Dog. I love it. But
right
we are
Dave's
ending
alley.
our series soon. What?
I said that's right up Dave's alley.
Oh yeah, Dave, you like TNG?
Yeah, actually, it's. I was just watching an episode last night. I forget the name of it. The one where Data they meet Lore because he gets tempted to become a murderer. Yeah, that one was just on.
They meet the first one where he meets Lore.
No, this is like season 6. It's a 2-parter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's probably called like The Only Son or some shit.
Something like that. Yeah.
I never know the name. I'm always like, is it going to be The Inner Light? Because that's the only name I ever remember.
I know, because you just stream it, right? And you just plays the next one. So I never know the episode title.
Well, please listen to Treks in the City. I hope you like.
I will do.
I hope you listen and like it. So we're moving into what we're going to do next with that, and then also.
Wait, do you guys get to Star Trek, or do you just talk about your life for 30 minutes? Because that's what you said earlier.
You caught me, Dave. Dave, you caught me.
He went there.
I do want to hear about your life.
And the city to kind of be like, Treks, but like a lot of the city. So there's a lot of that. We've had multiple guests.
Excellent.
Like more than 10 get on the show and go.
Tens
after
guests.
30 minutes. Is this show about Star Trek?
Oh man. It's funny.
I have a special on Amazon and CW network called "My Mama Is a Human and So Am I," so you can watch that.
Oh, there we go.
Anytime. Recorded in Denver.
Is that an alien show as well?
Kind of. It's weird, yeah. But like the end, my big closer in that special is about country music and how it's so homogenous now that it's just seems like it was written by like aliens who just came to Earth that are just like trying to blend in, that are just like, I'm a normal guy and I love my beer. And you're like,
Oh, that's strange. Yeah, that
sounds exactly on point.
Yeah. And there's a song called like Crop Circles by this guy named Brad, who's like, if the song is like crop circles in the moonlight means us boys have been around making circles in the fucking deep ground, and just like, and you're like, wait. So all country songs are just like, yo, dude, like just having a beer like a normal American dude. Also, fucking, I made the crop circles. Don't look into it. Whatever. It's like, wait, why is this happening?
It's funny because I was actually we watch New Girl a lot, and the episode you're in came on randomly like 2 days ago, and I was like,
really?
I'm gonna be talking to her in a couple days.
I will expect my 12 cents in the mail.
Well, yep, that was all me. So there you go. You're welcome. Is that an actual thing? Do you get 12 cents for each view?
I get a crazy amounts of money sometimes. I've gotten multiple 1 cent checks.
Oh man,
before
that's insane.
Like, cool.
Penny saves, penny earned.
Not worth the trip to the bank, but yeah. Oh, that was a fun. New Girl was amazing. Yeah, cool set to be on.
Great show.
I love when you get cast in a show that you really like, and you're like just the host at a restaurant. You're like, what if the host is like a friend of the people? You're trying to pitch yourself.
Yeah.
Come on. The host starts delivering food all the time. I don't know. It's crazy.
I'll be that girl. No, but yeah, it's always fun to see the people I'm going to be speaking with. But
that last season though.
What?
That last season, New Girl.
Yeah. I don't know if I saw it.
It just kind of went weird. They time passes by. It just lost the magic, as every show and seems to inevitably do before it's
that's what
killed.
I hope for Resident Alien. I want to work so long that we lose the magic because I want 2 houses.
Well, yeah, you got to jump the shark at some point, and at least get 4 or 5 seasons out of it, and I think you'll be fine. You'll be
many 1-set checks.
Exactly.
The stack.
But What we are a movie show. We like to have people from, comics, actors, filmmakers come on and talk about one of their favorite films, and it kind of gives their fans a different perspective on what they think of the art form a little bit. I mean, we don't have to go too deep. We can go into tangents. We can, we can
The Departed.
Yeah, we can talk The Departed, Copland, and Bridesmaids. All will be spoken about. But so first of all, I mean, so obviously you already alluded to that this is like your favorite movie, but well, you already said why'd you pick it. So never mind. My next question is irrelevant. You already answered it. Why'd you pick this movie? Why is it your favorite movie? Let's start there.
I think because it's like kind of that, it's like a X you can't get away from kind of thing, where it's just like it feels right. I really do. It's, and I've talked to I have a friend who has PhD in film, and she's like, LA Confidential, she's always so disappointed. And I'm just like, I know that it's kind of like bro-y or whatever, I know there's like parts of it that are like not, the portrayal of race relations. There's like a lot, right? That like could be, there's better films out there. Sure. But this movie and I have something together. And I remember my first encounter was when I was in high school, and there was this guy I had a crush on, David Robinson. And I loved him. Like, I loved David Robinson.
Shout out to David.
He loved what?
Great
Shout
work, David Robinson.
Yeah, I think he lives in like Florida. Anyway, so he is great. And he loved LA Confidential, the book. And then the movie came out. He's really excited. I think he had the screenplay or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I guess this is my favorite movie too. And I at least out of curiosity and a love for David, I watched it. And I remember I remember being like, oh, I didn't know you could do this in a movie. I just never had seen like a true like political thriller, but it just imprinted on me at that point. And I really love now like intricate plot, like procedural police dramas with corruption involved. There's this show on the BBC called Line of Duty, which is like the whole point of it is like there's an interior anti-corruption police force in the police force. So every season is just like finding a dirty cop, and I'm just like, I'm just like, I love it. But
you should audition for an English show. That was a spot on accent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Speaking
of also my impression of Jerry Seinfeld. I'm Jerry Seinfeld. You've got to try driving in New York traffic. What's the deal?
We have Jerry Seinfeld on our show, Dave. That's
comedians having tea with their friends, driving a stagecoach. Is that even a Scottish thing? I don't know.
That works. But no, like you were saying, I love so many different layers to this movie. Like you said, it's so intricate. It's described as a neo-noir crime film, and which I just love the aesthetic and, just how it looks and everything. It's just, it takes you back. It's got that Chinatown type of feel.
Yeah. And when I first moved to Los Angeles, I kind of got back into it again. Yeah. And that was my 7 or 8 years ago when my first like Christmas in Los Angeles. And I'm a big Christmas person. I love Christmas from being from Minnesota,
Well, yeah, and naturally.
I was like, I don't know how to do Christmas here. And LA Confidential, besides Die Hard, is like a great LA Christmas movie. And it gives you this like ambiance of the holidays in a Tinseltown, but like retro Tinseltown. And I was like, just aesthetically, it pleased me. And so I basically I watch it every year for Christmas.
Yeah. So it's your Christmas movie. That's funny because it doesn't seem to be in the conversation for that, whereas Die Hard is like in the conversation for Christmas movies. But this, I could see that. I mean, they got the bloody Christmas massacre or something.
It's like even more Christmassy than Die Hard.
Right.
Because they have Bloody Christmas. The first thing that Bud White does is like rip Christmas lights off of a house. And it's like ding, ding, ding. And it's like, and it like opens in a way like with it's super Christmassy.
Oh, absolutely. And you have at the time in '97, you had Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe, were basically unknown here in the States or in North America. If you we want to shout out our Canada folks out there, and Mexico. What else is in North America?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I mean, you got these actors who go on to have this amazing career, both of them. But
in the case of Russell Crowe, never get any more talented.
Right. Yeah.
And
you think so? I said, right. Yeah. Man. Like I agree with you.
It's a good
stop
performance, kind of top notch. Like you watch it and you're like, there's depth, and you get, he's meant to be this muscle guy. And I'm sure, I mean, that's a trope for movies, like this big muscular guy who's like, he's treated like, he's just body, no brains or whatever. But he lended a real softness to that role. And like, he abuses women, and it's like, and like, why would I find this character compelling? And part of it I really think is that like Russell Crowe was great. He didn't phone it in at all.
Yeah.
No. I think he kind of makes the movie, to be honest, even though the plot is really good and intricate and you kind of have to follow along and all the acting is good. But I think Russell Crowe is the highlight of this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think the mom of Lynn Bracken, or the mom of the girl who, that's the highlight for me. But otherwise,
Rita Hayworth is the celebrity. She, I think,
Rita Hayworth's lookalikes mom. It's so amazing.
Rita Hayworth's lookalikes mom.
No, but the woman is just like, don't go out of there. She's so amazing. I fucking love that casting choice. It's just,
she was cracking me up every time she was on screen.
Yeah.
What a wacky casting choice. Like,
she
why?
doesn't fit in at all with the rest of the movie, right?
At all.
Yeah.
And I guess some people might find that to be I thought it was great because everybody's just like dealing with her like, okay.
Right. Yeah. It's just, this, kind of kooky old lady. She finds that, the birthmark on her daughter, and Guy Pearce is just like, sorry about that. Dave, what are your thoughts on Guy Pearce? Are you a Guy Pearce guy?
Not a major Guy Pearce guy. I mean, he's really good in this and Memento. After that, I mean, there's not much that I don't really see a lot of Guy Pearce movies, to be honest with you. So I'm sort of like, I'm a little neutral to positive on Guy Pearce, but I thought he was good. The first time I saw it, I was really annoyed by the character. I think that was my takeaway. I
remember that too. Yeah.
Now I've come to appreciate him more.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're supposed to find him. I find him very compelling. I mean, you don't know, huh? Pretty compelling.
I mean, it doesn't get that jawline, the jawline.
I like guys who are like all like uptight. That's my thing.
Man in uniform.
Or was at the time when I first saw the movie, like guys who were just like the rules. And
was it David Robinson?
Oh, yes.
He was a real tight ass.
Oh yes, huge tight ass. Just like no everybody. Yeah, huge tight ass. But like,
Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce is this is for me, truly Guy Pearce is the highlight because I remember seeing the scene where he confronts Dudley in the precinct with the name Rollo Tomasi.
Ooh,
and Dudley reveals Dudley reveals the name to him, Rollo Tomasi. And in that moment, that's when Guy Pearce has to stay stock still, and you have to register on his face that he understands what's going on, but he has to stay calm and not have a reaction to it. And if you look closely, he somehow gets his pupils to dilate.
Yeah.
And it's just like this moment, and it's so well done. And it, to me, it just makes me so happy to see something like that.
Right.
It's so exciting.
As soon as that name comes up, like you see his eyes, like, just like you said, dilate, and just like, how the hell do you do that? And it's just like, but he can't totally react to it, because he knows now. Yeah. He knows that Dudley's up to something.
I wonder if he was thinking about like being in the outback And like, what would I do if I saw a dingo? What would I do if I saw a kangaroo like barreling towards me? That's what I'm thinking about.
I would initially, I'm not going to try to do the accent. I would initially, dilate my eyes, be scared, but then I got to keep my cool, keep my cool. Don't let it know I'm afraid,
So that's what I was thinking when I was looking at Dudley in that moment. And everybody's like, cool.
Right. Cool. And I mean, that's another great casting there. James Cromwell, Cromwell, that guy. He's just absolutely perfect.
Bad Irish
this
cop,
type of
right?
role. Yeah, the bad Irish cop. Exactly. What are our thoughts on Danny DeVito with his Hush Hush and QT? What are our thoughts on that, guys?
It's a little cheesy, right? I don't know how we get around that.
Really? No? It is. I can't tell anymore on it. And that's how close I am to this movie. I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I will show other people a movie to be like, is this good? Because I love it, but
yeah,
I might be super biased.
I think it sets the tone a little bit. It puts you in the mindset of that era. It kind of puts you in that. Again, sets the tone. That's what I'm trying to say. And
it anchors you in the type of world that Hollywood was that you're living in, which, he is. I thought he did a great job in the role.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it starts the movie off from this really like soft place of like, he's one of those characters that's like a lamb to the, what's the phrase? A lamb to where the lamb gets killed.
Lamb to, leading it to the cliff.
We're nodding, but we don't know where you're going.
You've never heard the phrase "a lamb to the prey" or whatever?
That.
But let's pretend for the sake of my dignity that it's leading a lamb to where the lamb gets killed.
Right.
I feel like that's just
I know where you're getting at. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I know this. Yes, I know. I'm aware of a saying along those lines.
So the movie starts off with like the series of murders. I mean, it starts off with the Bud White introduction, but then when you see the series of murders that Danny DeVito is describing, that's Mickey Cohen cleaning up after Mickey Cohen, and it's so stylized, and these murders are like these goons. It's almost Dick Tracy. It's like you don't care about these people.
Yeah.
And then by the time in the movie where we're at Danny DeVito's character dying, it's like that's when it starts to the whole plot starts to kind of spiral in towards things we start to care about, which is just a nice way of moving the story along and making it higher and higher and higher stakes step by step. And he's this innocent, goofy guy who definitely, he exposed somebody as gay and then was like, I didn't mean to,
Right, exactly. Go ahead, Dave.
I felt like, absolutely right, Alice. It starts off sort of glossy. You don't know what this, for your first time, you don't know what this movie's going to be. Is it going to be lighter and more glamorous? And then it turns dark.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I know I love Danny DeVito, and we know he's a smaller guy. I just felt like punching him was just super cruel. Did you guys feel that way? I was like, no, you can't hit him. He's not like, it's not like punching like Russell Crowe or something like that. I don't know. I felt like especially cringe because he does
satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. He is kind of a scoundrel. I mean, absolutely.
He's in there taking pictures of.
But that's the thing that they do in the movie, right? They like this person becomes the villain when they sacrifice the puppy.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito's the puppy.
Yeah.
I mean, bringing the one thing I am ashamed, if I have to say, like, I know this is my favorite movie. The one thing I'm ashamed of is the role homophobia plays in the movie, because of course the only gay character is this really shitty, corrupt, like asshole who doesn't have any spine or backbone, is completely treated as like his character is like, he is control himself, but then he's like, and it feels like a homophobic portrayal of this guy who's gay and closeted, and then he's like crying at the end, and he's just like, no, don't drop me off of a building,
right?
Where it's like, like don't drop somebody off of a building.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay, well, But
I mean, even, I mean, you gotta look at, I mean, this is 1950s. The movie is supposed to be portrayed in.
Yeah.
So I don't know
But
if
you
that's
notice there's no
necessary.
future movies in which like people are just like, now people never do future movies where they're like, and now we're gonna fix it. I don't know. It just
Right,
seems like people just always make old movies about like back then it was okay. And you're like, okay.
It was okay, so we can
So it's
say
fine.
these
And you're like,
say
all right.
these words, and
Well,
it's
okay. But I do think that in context, now that being gay isn't just like a monolith. There is more room for characters who are just like gay and also shitty.
Right. Yeah. It's not just a device for being sympathetic or anything. It's they can be shitty, like you said. Are we? Am I allowed to bring up Kevin Spacey? Is that it's
a touchy one, right?
Can you believe it?
It's
who shall not be named.
I'm sweating.
Like, I don't know what I can't defend.
Well,
his performance is his performance. It's
exactly. Exactly. Like, you cannot deny the talent of Kevin Spacey, no matter how terrible of a actual human being he is. But
no one is denying. That's what I love about consequences for people. It's like, you are talented in jail.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Go to jail.
But I think this again, this is at the height of I think he had just won the Oscar for Usual Suspects. So
he's fantastic.
He really is, and
I love that role too. I love the way it's written and the way that a person. It's like I like that there's one character instead of it being a cop show about cops dealing with Hollywood. I like that they actually center the crossroads of Hollywood and the police in a person who's both a police officer and a Hollywood star.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Device.
When I first saw this, I was like, I was super confused. I was like, wait, so is he a movie star / cop? Like the way they set up that home raid. He's like, I want the cameras over here, and like, I don't want the floodlights on me when I come out. It's just like, it's all publicity, all Hollywood.
That's interesting, because I think in a lot of ways it raises a good point, Alice. Because I was thinking about this before we started. Is the movie's kind of about identity for all of these characters, kind of figuring out who they are and what they're going to be. And Kevin Spacey he's like that halfway point. He is in that cross, and he can either go on and doing what he was doing before, either ignore it, just treat this like a spectacle and just make his money and do his arrests for the camera with I don't know his pose or whatever it was.
Right.
And Guy Pearce had to figure out that too, who he was going to be. The Kim Basinger character she has a strong identity. She's not just a prostitute, but she did it like on her own terms, which I thought was interesting. And she still had a sense of herself to get back to Arizona and all that.
Also, it's interesting that the whole get back to Arizona and open a dress shop because being a sex worker is like the absolute worst thing you can be is like not super chill with that. But I love that. I'm not defending this movie as like a progressive choice for like filmmaking that advocates for minority communities in any way, because it isn't. But it's interesting, I would say, to have a lady who's a literal, like, there are so many actual sex workers, go to fucking Portland, who are like, I live in this house and it is my sex den and I have my normal room, and like my clients are just like people who I like mostly just talk to. It's like a real thing. And she's just like, at least we get to act a little. It seems it's supposed to be sad, but I think it's actually like for a lot of people, it's like, no, this is what I'm good at.
Yeah,
I'm actually really good at this.
And she was the only one that
at the dress shop are like terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you should fuck for a living.
You got a good thing going.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is not.
Well, I guess the point that it's dangerous, but
for her,
But it was interesting that she was the only one who kept her own looks. She did not become someone else, so to speak. And I find that interesting too.
Yeah, I think she said, she was a brunette, and that's the only thing that's different about her. This is.
Oh, they cut out the line where she was like, "and my tits."
Did they cut that out?
No, no.
Oh, this is a joke. Okay. Okay. It's
It would really undermine.
This is why I edit. No, I'm gonna leave that in. I'm leaving it all in. What? That was the line? Oh, wow. Okay.
I had a question.
No.
Okay.
All right, we're going. No, go ahead.
What do we make of Bud White? Because since we're talking about Kim Basinger, what do you think of Bud White punching her? What did you guys make of that scene? Because I think he's fighting whether or not he's going to be the guy who he doesn't want to be all movie and all of his life, and he does slip up. So I'm just curious what you guys made of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like as a woman watching that, who it's just like it's not a surprising move for a plot to make. It just isn't. Like, it's like, oh yeah, of course, women are just there to be hit or whatever. But it's also, yeah, like Ben was saying, it's like it's context, and like this is somebody who is living in a society in which something like that was not really frowned upon and not really punished in any way. And when you don't have any consequences for your actions, like, why would you think that was bad?
Yeah.
Why would you think that was especially bad? And if you're Lynn Bracken, you're like, well, I am trash.
Right.
It's
yeah.
just like, ooh.
She almost feels like she deserves it in a way, but obviously, yeah, I mean, it's not okay to do that, but yeah, it's just interesting that his character is the one that we see actually abuse a woman in this film, and
he was specifically targeting men who were abusing women, like
exactly.
Mass violence. Like, the guy, I don't know, the strength and the anger is like amped up beyond human ability.
Yeah, because it's the thing inside yourself, essentially, right, that you're like fighting the hardest.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's why he hates like women, people who batter women, because it's in him. It's like this seed of evil.
Yeah. You get
he
the
is not confronted. I love that a lot of this movie could be solved with therapy.
Right. Yeah.
And The Departed is the same way. If Vera Farmiga's character was like actually a good therapist, like all of this could have been avoided. But she's just like, the guy will be like, Leonardo DiCaprio is like, you want to get a cup of coffee? And she's like, like she can't handle it at all.
Well, I mean, if Leonardo DiCaprio asked me for a cup of coffee, I think I'd be the same way.
Maybe. I don't know. I have to say, being in actual Hollywood, you get around some of these like super handsome stars that you see, and then you're like in person, and
it's just
I don't know, they have pores.
Yeah.
Very few of them are just like that impressive in person.
My eyes don't have Photoshop in real person, and in real life. So they haven't invented that yet. We just don't have the technology, unfortunately.
I dread the day if Alice ever sees me in person.
No, you're adorable. You're a very handsome man,
Dave. Look out your window.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so are you really on his window right now?
I actually need help.
I'm so gullible. I'm so gullible.
I need help.
You'd have to be in like a van, I think, with that great background or something. Maybe you're around the streets.
Yeah, my mobile podcasting.
Well, when you brought up Kim Basinger and Russell Crowe, what we thought about that, Dave, I thought you were going to go with, he's watching her have sex with guy after guy, like in his car, like guys come in and out, and then one night he just is like, I don't care if you've been in with all those guys.
I like that. Yeah. He's like, well, yeah, that's your job.
Yeah, that's your job. I understand. And
it feels like he's watching her as like some weird protector that she didn't ask for.
Yeah. Right.
And she treats him like that. She's like, I know you're working something out in your car out there.
So, well, obviously,
hey, rim shot, man. Nice.
Don't make me cough.
Nice.
Well, it's now I lost my thought. That's the
I keep trying to think
podcast.
of the line when he's finally in her house, and then he comes to the door and the congressman is there.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck does he say?
He says calls him a shitbird, and says like, get out of here. I'll call your wife. And then the guy's like, okay. And then as he's leaving, he says, officer, and he says, councilman. Like we
Yeah.
know he's a councilman, but yeah, I forget the actual insult he
Something
says.
something, get out of here, shipper. Before
Yeah. It was dope. It was so
it
dope.
was so good. I love that part. I just want to say something like that in a movie so bad.
So I mean, are we to assume that when it seemed like they were not exclusive, but they were like a couple? Did he think she wasn't doing that work anymore? That he was so mad that she was with Guy Pearce? Like,
just not Guy Pearce.
Oh, I think that not Guy Pearce. He's like the main.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think he probably wouldn't get that upset, but like,
right,
for sure, not Guy Pearce.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't sure like what they were going like. Did
he's the guy who's like, he's the thorn in Bud's side. Like he's like everything that's wrong in Bud's opinion with the police force in general, and he has all this nepotism going on.
Right.
Bud's this like salt of the earth guy, and then they kind of come together, and they're like, oh. I like the idea, Dave, you were saying it's about identity. I've kind of had the idea recently that like it's about how in the police force within Hollywood, there's like a Hollywood of police. There's like the police itself were pretending. The police itself were not fighting for truth and justice. They were just this fake show of police that were just basically like in the mayor of the pocket of the mayor of the pocket. They were just like all they were doing was like becoming the criminals themselves. And so within that police force, Bud and Ed find each other and are like, I guess we're the only two police here. And Kevin Spacey's like, I'll come too, I guess. Yeah. And then that's it. And then they just fucking mow down the entire rest of
right. Yeah.
How many people did they kill? It was like a dozen.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think we have to kill all of the police.
Yeah, the whole
nobody left.
As a defunded policer, I'm like, we could just do what they did in LA Confidential and go out to whatever Stardust Motel and just fucking see what happens.
Bud White and Ed Exley out there. And Russell Crowe hiding under the floorboards of the house, shooting people out through the basement and then through the...
So good.
Yeah. That's one of those. Yeah. It's like the classic, like, end shootout. And it's just so like, so fun to watch. And, so
like Ed Exley's glasses in that scene when they're like, and he's like, his glasses are fogging up and he's like, all I ever wanted was to measure up to my father. And Bud's like, now's your chance because his father died.
Yeah. They share a moment there. They like chuckle at each other. Like he's like, because your dad died in duty. He's like,
so good.
Yeah, zinger. Well, what I find very ironic though is it feels like Spacey's character is the one who gets true redemption in this because he's like, he's corrupt. He'll just do whatever for money and, just kind of go with whatever just to, as long as he can still work on that show and, get his money.
Yeah.
He's fine. But then when, he needs help with this kid actor who got killed, Ed is like, well, I'll help you if you help me with, with this whole night owl thing, because he finds out that Bud is tracking the whole night owl case as well. But yeah, Kevin Spacey, basically he goes to, Cromwell because he finds out about this Buzz that gets killed. That was a former cop that he finds in the crawl space of the house, and it's where am I going here? No, that's the moment. So Kevin Spacey gets the money from DeVito, and then I love that moment. Kevin Spacey's in the bar, has the 50. And like you can just see his remorse and like his sadness and just like what am I doing? Like what does this money mean at this point?
Right.
And he just like
and I think
sets it on
in
the
Matt
glass
Reynolds he saw himself. He saw like what Hollywood is supposed to be about.
Yeah. Right.
The hope and the like sort of like glamour and opportunity and creativity. Like he saw that stuff in this kid who's just like an idiot.
Yeah.
And
hilariously stupid.
And he just like,
where do I know you from?
At the time, Kevin Spacey's like, and then I had this idea to do that to everyone I worked with. You're like, oh, okay, well. But but yeah, and he realizes that like, what's the fucking point? What's the fucking point of being like in this Hollywood game if you're just gonna take everything good and that's involved in it and squeeze it out? Like,
Yeah,
not worth
exactly.
it.
Yeah, not worth it at all. And and then he has that last moment with Dudley where, he tells him about he knows the identity
Rollo
of
Tomasi.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it says that Rollo Tomasi, and that haunts Dudley because that's the name that Exley gave his dad's killer because they never found his killer. He's the guy that got away with it, and yeah, that kind of haunts him. And then that's what we were talking about when Dudley said it to Exley.
It becomes a secret password. And
Right.
Imagine, I'm sorry,
No,
you're dying, like you got shot. And in that 10 seconds before you die, you're like, okay, I'm going to say a thing that's a perfect thing that's going to be the thing that translates the thing. But you're like,
right.
I'm not doing that math. I'm like,
Right.
no, you? The whole time?
Right,
Fuck!
yeah.
Like that would be me just freaking out.
Exactly. Like, yeah. Well, but I'm gonna,
You really put it together.
I'm gonna move the plot forward instead.
Yeah.
For this
Right, yeah.
movie I'm living in my head.
A tangent on that because I looked up Rollo Tomasi. I just Googled it, and it is actually someone has taken on that name as an author. And they wrote, you can find this on Amazon, The Rational Male. Rollo Tomasi is one of the leading voices of the globally growing male-focused online consortium known as the Manosphere. So, Alice, since you're such a fan of the movie, you'll no doubt enjoy this book. So
yeah, that's a good rec. Oh, I can't wait to meet that guy.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Aw, it's so
anything...
weird that this is my favorite movie.
Ruined it.
No, I mean it's great. It won best screenplay. Kim Basinger won best supporting actress. But it's.
I love movies made in this era.
Yeah,
or like 70s movies era, 80s, 60s.
Yeah.
I love movies made in the 90s.
Yeah, it's just and it's just so many layers to the movie. I mean, you even got the they pin the Night Owl murders on the African American guys, and that at first.
Oh, I guess that is another character that's gay that's given like who is not a villain and a weird shitty person. The character of the young kid who pees himself in the room.
Oh,
they're
right.
threatening him.
Yeah.
And he's like basically 15 or something, and he's gay, and basically he is sympathetic in the sense that because he raped that girl. This is so crazy for anybody who's not seen the movie. They're just like, what? This other thing? This is like the busiest night of their lives. Like so those three kids in the beginning of the Night Owl murders were the patsies, basically the people that Dudley's crew decided to pin the murders on because they did it and were involved in this crime ring. So they were like, oh yeah, they were just basically made it up. They're like, yeah, there's some shotguns in a car in this neighborhood that's largely African American. So like, it's probably them. So go find it. And then they just planted
Go get them.
Probably.
And then everybody's like, yeah, it does seem like they do murders. And they go search and they find the guns. And Ed Exley's one of the cops that finds the guns. I think with Bud or no?
With another random agent that got killed during that shootout.
With the random agent, the little guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the little guy.
Actually great. I think he's a good actor. But so immediately Ed Exley's like, this is weird. And they like chase them, get them and arrested, and then they're interviewing them. And I love interrogation scenes.
Oh my God, this interrogation scene is one of the best. It's so brilliant. Yeah, such a great. Oh my goodness,
he's such a fantastic.
Scene.
And how crazy would it be to be like, hey, do this interrogation. The whole department's going to be there, even though we have other jobs. Like, we have other stuff going on. Is it
got
Kathy's
murderers
birthday?
on the street.
Like, why are they all gathered?
Right. Like, what's going on? But yeah, I love that break of the chair. Even when he's they're doing Danny DeVito like beating him and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he lifts the chair up. It's
chairs are like not safe around him.
Yeah, definitely not. But there was one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is the there's something with his glasses and then everything being seen through glass or through a lens. You have so much of the interrogations being seen. The first thing we see is him looking in on Spacey when he's talking to like the guy that's above, the chief of police, probably the guy that's above Dudley. You see him looking through the glass. They keep mentioning his glasses, about wearing those. You have them taking pictures of him,
the giant glass windows that are in the mid-century architecture getting broken during the like mafia killings.
It's there's something there. It's a metaphor for something.
What if we just find out it was like heavily sponsored by Corning glassware?
Corning,
exactly. For me,
it's true because there's a lot of like one-way glass.
Yeah, like for me, it's almost like I don't think Exley believes in the corruption at first. He must in some sense, like, so he's like kind of looking at things in a rose-colored glasses a little bit, and it's Hollywood, everything's through a lens.
He takes off those when they're like, lose the glasses all the time. People just keep telling him, lose the glasses, and it becomes, if in that context, like a really good bit of advice.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I don't know why they just didn't call him a nerd. That would have solved it.
That it was pipsqueak in the 50s. Pipsqueak back then, not nerd. It wasn't a term yet.
But I mean, he really is in the beginning. He's the guy. He's like, well, actually, according to police procedure on Rule 5, subsection B, you must do this and that. And they're just like, shut up, nerd. That's kind of what it is.
Basically.
He does not fit in there at all, and it's just like really strange that he would even be and Dudley points that out, like, you're not a detective, like you don't have the spirit of detective at all, like it's dumb, but you could be a captain, like you would lead this police force. I don't know why you're doing this.
Right. It's just
and at the end of the movie he finds out why he's doing it. He becomes the thing he wants to be, which is really redeeming. My favorite line is in the big, again, a chair gets horribly murdered, but when Bud is beating the shit out of Exley because Jason who's the pimp who gets the photographs taken and mailed to Ed.
Right, yeah.
Bud.
It starts with a P, has an X in it. Yeah, that guy.
Patchett.
Pierce Patchett.
Oh, it doesn't have an X in it.
The photo. Pierce Patchett sends the photos, and Bud gets predictably insane and goes after Ed Exley, and then Dudley's like, I wouldn't give all the whiskey in Ireland. And Bud's like beating him up, and then finally Ed gets through to him, and he's like, listen to me. You have to understand, you're doing this for them. They wanted you to do this. They want us to kill each other. Right. And he explains it, and then he's like, and Bud's like, okay, great. I guess I'm on the same page, but one thing, like the Night Owl case made you. You want to tear it all down? And Exley's like, with a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
You want to help me swing it?
Yeah. Oh, it's so brilliant. Yep. Oh, it's just like such a hurrah.
Lines like that, too, as an actor, I would say are kind of difficult because when you get to that point in the script where it's like, oh, and the thing no one would say because it's too slick, it's too big,
right.
And here I've been playing this character truthfully to the best of my ability. So to be able to deliver that line, is
have to hit it.
You have to hit it, and it was so well done.
Yeah, definitely. It's something. Yeah, you would never say in real life.
Yeah.
But in the movie
I try
world,
to be
it
that
just
person,
works.
but it's not.
It just doesn't work. People are like, "What the hell is she saying?" No, all right, no. What's so we're at the end here. What happens? Like the captain dies a hero, they say, but like. Why does Guy Pearce go along with it? Why does Ed go along with this?
I think he's become a political, the kind of political mastermind that can like. He understands that he needs to work within the system that exists. That he can't change a system. He becomes like a moderate in a way where he's like, this is now going to continue to fester unless we figure out a way to move forward.
Right.
And he
I know how you work. I know how the media works. And here's what's going to happen. And, he makes a trade and he makes a deal that makes it so that like the safety of the city is actually put
right
in some sense is prioritized. And he says like he's after the killing at the hotel. What's the name of the hotel again?
Victoria Motel,
Victory,
something like that.
Victory
Motel. Yeah.
After the Victory shootout, when everybody fucking dies, the end point is that like people in the media are becoming aware of the length of the depth of the corruption within the police department and how tied it is to the money in LA and the real estate and everything. And so they're like, well, the police will, have to pay some sort of price for it. But at the same time, if we don't like elect a leader of this, if we don't like if we don't make a hero out of one of the people involved, like we won't have a police department anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
I think is.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got to make some sort of trade-off there. Like, I still got him down, but I still have to work the system a little, be that politician.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
Definitely.
That's kind of how I saw it, but there might be more to it. I should read the book, actually.
Yeah, read the book and let us know.
I hate to read.
I know.
Reading sucks.
Words.
Twitter's ruined me.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave. You had a point?
Yeah, it's about compromise and pragmatism. And I mean, even the fact that he lets Bud White kick the shit out of everybody when he needs him to, I mean, that's certainly not by the book. And I guess, sometimes I think there is such a thing as righteous violence. And I guess it's up to all of us to determine what that is, depending on the side you're on. But maybe you do just need to kick someone's ass.
House.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a point where you need to do that, I think. And I think simply, this absolutism following the rules sometimes will not get you anywhere. So
it's like, but at the same time, you kind of walk away from the movie going like, I would hope that the people in charge who have the guns are people who understand what's going on enough to paint a picture. Like, because even though I am a member of the public, sometimes it's like, I don't need the public to know everything.
Right.
We are stupid.
Yeah, of course.
I'm smart, but we are not smart. So, like I like, that's why I like people. Like I'm not a moderate Democrat, but like certain things that like, I respect people who are good at politics because it's like, it's not a skill. It's an important thing if you're going to be in charge of systems to be able to communicate what you're doing in a way that doesn't fucking burn everything down every day.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And you got to find that balance.
It's like very mature. It's like the maturing part of his career. I don't know.
I think that's right. I mean, because you could, what would have been the actual consequences? Would it have lost public trust forever? I mean, what would have been? And he's like, well, I'm using them while they use me. And someone who, I mean, he knows the truth, right? So, and we I guess we believe in Guy Pearce at this point to help reform the LA police.
Right. That's the thing. We walk away not knowing.
Right.
The extent of like what has happened or what's going to happen. But I have the idea that like people like Ed Exley because the thing is, it's a legacy too. It's not like Ed Exley by himself. His dad was also the guy, like his dad was Ed Exley, who was like trying to do the right thing. So there was like him and, hopefully there's other police officers and he is in that position now to be in charge.
Yeah.
He's got all these medals and shit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a great, detective film, like noir.
Yeah.
And it's just, what goes down as one of the greats, that's for sure. Any final thoughts on this movie? Anybody?
5 minute long silence.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, that's LA.
I think I discovered in this conversation why people are surprised that this is my favorite movie, because politically it doesn't really make any sense to me. Like I'm not like super pro police, and I'm also, but I love fucking police drama. I love police procedurals, and I fucking love, And also, like,
it's storytelling, you know.
Right,
It's not, you know, it's
not real
I think-
life, you know.
Right.
Right, but I think it's important in the way we tell our stories and the way we're
Sure.
responsible about it. And I don't think this movie does that perfectly, but I really, at the same time, I cemented the fact that like it is a story that has the types of like nimble storytelling, and
Right.
I just really appreciate a well-written script, you know, that like you're saying the glass thing, I had never even noticed that. And the way that the lines are like placed throughout this, so there's not like, you know, you'll notice like for instance, in The Departed, it's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Mark
Very good.
Wahlberg's character has all these great lines, right? And like you're thinking Scorsese, like he's like this amazing filmmaker or whatever. Mark Wahlberg has like a million one-liners in that movie. But the problem is he literally never does anything else. He's not a full person in the movie if you watch, because there's never one moment that he's owned or he's given vulnerability. It's always just like he walks into every single room being like, fuck you, asshole, you're a fucking, you know, it's just like every second. And then he leaves and everybody goes, he's actually really nice. And that's like the joke they play over and over again.
Right. And he's the one actor in that got a acting nomination. Which
and it's crazy because like he literally didn't probably even read the script. But like in this movie, we have those great moments, right? But it's like it's spread out throughout the show.
Right.
In this way where it's totally believable and fucking earned.
Yeah, and every character has their own little moment throughout this film. You get to see. It's not just. I don't know. Everyone has a chance to shine, and they all do.
It's crazy to me that so much happens in this movie as well.
Yeah,
and,
I know. It's
like I remember watching The Killing, and I was like, this movie, it's paced properly. I looked to it for writing inspiration because it's paced properly. When I watched The Killing, I was like watching, and they discover that, you know, Rosie Larson went to the prom, and they'd be like, go to the people she was at the prom with, and they're like, oh, you're gonna have to talk to the people at the after party. And they go to the after party people, and they're like, oh, she went to the meeting with her professor after the after party. And they're like, what?
Right.
And then she's like, oh, she was with the mayor. And it's like, sorry that this girl got killed in the busiest night of her life, and it's like an entire season's worth of detective work for you. It's just like things need to make some sort of sense at some point.
Definitely.
Did you guys? My last thought, I guess, is the level of how bad the cops were is a bit shocking, isn't it? Like,
as in just
they're basically the mob.
No, that's what's. I'll send you some articles, Dave. Or actually, I'll just hand them to you. I'm outside, but there's a fucking like in the LA. I mean, this is in LA, right? The movie's in LA, but in the LA Sheriff's Department, there's a gang who have a quota for like how many Mexicans they kill.
Jeez.
It's like it's just totally real. It's like, it's just like, I mean, first of all, there's like lots of cops, but like there are so many corrupt cops. It's crazy because they're just unregulated.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've never been to LA. I don't know much about it, but yeah, that's insane.
Well,
that's
police unions are something that are different than normal unions, and so they've made it so that there's.
Do we want to start that sentence?
No accountability. Yeah, now you're in it.
Yeah,
what you should really do is, I honestly, for this show, would be really funny. I'll start my spiel, like my tirade about police accountability and qualified immunity, and you could just like. Fade the sound out and be like, anyway,
Ben,
like music starts playing me off. I know. I'm tiring. I understand.
No, it's
I understand. But you guys are awesome. Delightful.
No, you are. It's awesome hearing your thoughts on this film, and just hearing your crazy thoughts in general. As a
it was
witch.
so great to talk about
as a witch. No, absolutely, it was a blast. Where can people find you on the social medias and all that?
Just my first and last name on both the Instagram and the Twitter.
There you go. That easy, folks. We really appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. LA Confidential, Alice Wetterlund. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. You can follow us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast, on Instagram at BlockbusterMentality. That's where you get all the updates on the show, when new episodes come out, what future guests will be on the show. So definitely follow us on there. Be sure to rate and review us on iTunes. Helps us out a lot. And stay tuned for more episodes. Hope everyone's doing well. All right, folks. Well, that is it for me. For Dave and Alice, I'm Ben. And as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys at the movies.